Well, it's been a week since Baldur's Gate 3 came out. I'm currently in the middle of my first solo playthrough. I do apologize for my voice. I'm a little bit, my nose is a little bit blocked at the moment. But I thought I'd take a few minutes to talk about Baldur's Gate 3 because it's been my most anticipated game of the year. And I wanted to say something and put a video out there on the channel with my thoughts, my first thoughts about the game. Well, first thoughts after playing it for 40 hours or so. Um, and yeah, just giving you like my raw opinion at this point in time. I do intend to have some sort of a review after I finish this playthrough, and I also intend to have a full playthrough of the game on the channel, but that playthrough will be a co op um, series with my buddy Netstorm, my friend that I've played Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2 with. We decided that we are going to play the game together and we are going to put the series on the channel. But that will come sometimes at the beginning of September, I think. That's when we're going to start because our schedules just don't align until then. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So, my current playthrough, I play as a druid and I'm really happy with the decision to start playing as a druid. I think as a class, druid gives you quite a lot of diversity in the game. About the game, currently Baldur's Gate 3 for me, it lives up to my expectation of what it would be. So it's a huge game. There's a lot of things to do in the game. Very little bugs when it came out, for me at least. I've had no game crashing bugs. I've had no issues with my graphics, drivers, controls. Everything ran smoothly. No problems with the audio. No nothing. So I'm really impressed by that because given the magnitude of the game or the size of the game, I was sure it will have something. There will be some issues with it. And also, after seeing the amount of people that have been playing the game and the fact that Larry and I think they said, I saw an interview on the internet that they said that they were expecting like about 100,000 people to play it and they reached like over 800,000 on Steam. That's just that's just amazing. And I know this is not an online service or online game, but it's yeah, they didn't have issues with the game, and it's great. And it's rare to see that nowadays. That's the problem, you know. So kudos to them. They did a great job. The voice acting in the game is phenomenal. That's the first thing that I'm gonna say in this game about this game. I have to say it. The voice acting is phenomenal. The characters that you get to meet, the characters that you get to play with, the villains so far, they all have they've done a great job with all these characters. I love it. I love the fact that whenever you start talking to a character, you go into like a cinematic mode where you see the person's face and their you can also see their all their like features and everything. The dice system integrates very well, especially when you do like detect thoughts or you do an insight check and stuff like that. They really worked on the micro expressions, I think, which gives a lot of a personality. I don't think personality is a good word for it. I think it actually gives like a soul to the characters that you're talking to, right? So I really like that. The music is great as well, and overall the everything that you get to do in the game, the amount of like the diversity in the game is great. It's incredible to me, right? The amount of different angles that you can use to approach the same situation, I really like that. And definitely, you can definitely not see everything in one playthrough. Definitely. It's, I think it's impossible. They did say that. Having played it now, yeah, it's impossible. Right. Now, talking about a few more specific things, I guess. I think they've done a very good job at implementing the D&D combat system with all the spells and all the actions and everything. Although Baldur's Gate 3 is using the same engine as Divinity Original Sin 2, I think they did enough tweaks to that system to make it work. But I also think that using that engine has its cons as well, and I'll talk about those in a second. But so far, the combat system works very good. Even though, like, in D&D, with especially with casters and stuff like that, you have spell slots and so on. I thought initially that that would be very limiting in certain aspects of the game, but it's actually not. I think the way they implemented the long rest is another thing that I personally really like. I think they've implemented it very well. And for me, at least, the long rest, I use the long rest just like similar to like Mass Effect. You know how in Mass Effect, after you finish a mission or whatever, you return to the ship and then you have a debriefing session with everyone and then you get to talk to people and the story evolves? I kind of use it in the same way in my playthrough. Although you can talk to your companions, whenever you want to, I actually use the long rest as the time to debrief. So the way I do it is after we have a big fight or something happens in the story or whatnot, I go to camp, I talk to everyone, see if they have anything to say, then I go take a long rest, and then every time that I've taken a long rest, something happens. Something has happened during the night. And after that, in the morning, when everybody's rested, I do another round, talk to everybody, and then go and continue the adventure. But that's just my way, and it works for me, and I really like it. But like I said, the game is not perfect, and there are some things that I don't like. There are some things that I really don't like about the game. The main problem that I have with the game is the inventory system. I think the inventory system really needs a a work on. They need to work on the inventory system, essentially. There's not a lot of sorting capability in the system. I have an issue with the way you classify your junk in your inventory. I have an issue with the fact that I cannot access the inventory for all my companions at once. You can only access the inventory for your character and the other 3 characters that you currently have in your party. I would have preferred that when I go to camp, for example, I could press a button and see everyone's inventory, because you have to go through this motion of you have to go to camp, then you have to dismiss one of your guys, and then you have to go to the person that you want to inspect and invite them into the party, and then you can access their inventory. And it's not just their inventory, it's also like their equipment, right? What they have equipped on themselves and so on and so forth. I would have liked it if would have made it a little bit easier. There might be mods that already do that. Maybe, I don't know. I haven't checked the modding community, because I said the first playthrough it's going to be the way Larian intended it to be. So I'm not modifying anything, but that's really a big gripe of mine, and I hope they do something about it. Or I hope there will be a mod that makes life easier, right? And the other thing that I don't like about the game is the fact that first of all, there's no auto looting option, right? And there's no mass looting option in the game. Now, I know in terms of mass looting and auto looting, people might have different opinions. Maybe, some people like to see what they're looting and they decide not to loot certain things, but I'm personally a loot whore, so I loot everything, and I have seen other people online that are kind of like me, and I wish there was an option in the settings to just click, tick a box and auto loot everything. I don't think that's too much to ask. Maybe it is, I don't know. But it would be great if there would be this option in the game. But yeah, I think that's the only negative that I have about the game at the moment. So, like I said, I've been playing it for however long it's been out. Um, and yeah, 40 hours in or so, I'm still in the first zone. My characters are currently level 5, and it's been great so far. I think this game is great for anyone who is a D&D fan or a fan of RPGs, but it's also a very big game. So it does take a lot of time. It is a big, you have to dump a lot of hours into it, and you also have to be quite active when you're playing it because you have to listen, you have to interact, you have to pay attention. There's a lot of secrets in the game, and there's a lot of things in the game where you like find a letter or a book or something that gives you a message and talks about, I don't know, something that you might encounter in the future. And that takes a lot of attention, in my opinion, at least, right? Of course, you can get through the game without reading all the books or all the notes or whatnot, but if you're like me and you like to explore a lot and you like to discover secrets and solve puzzles and so on and so forth, you know, I personally really like to read all the messages or all the little letters that I find. It's because I think like these developers have put them in the game for a reason. They've, you know, worked on those texts for a reason. So maybe there's a hidden message somewhere that leads you to get the greatest weapon ever or something. I don't know. I'm just saying. But yeah, that's how I see it. Yeah, those are my thoughts about Baldur's Gate 3. If you have the time to invest in such a game, I thoroughly recommend it at this point in time. Like I said, I do want to have a a review after I finish my first playthrough, and I will talk a little bit more there about like the actual systems, what you can expect, and so on and so forth. But at this point in time, I'm super excited about the game. I really enjoy it. I'm looking forward every time, every day I finish work. I'm looking forward to playing it, and it's been keeping me on my toes so far in terms of like story and what happens. And yeah, so yeah, that's it. That's my rambling on the game. Hope you enjoyed it. I just wanted to put something that is not edited and, you know, raw, just my raw opinion on the internet. This was it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.